to the Echain Day in the Life demo series from Chainsys. Today we'll take a look at a day in the life of a Payables user. A typical day in the life of a Payables user includes checking for pending GRN receipts, creating a payable invoice from a GRN, creating a manual payables invoice, reviewing the current bank balance, verifying the payable outstanding amount, processing supplier payment vouchers, analyzing creditors' ledger reports, payment and receipts against GL accounts, and then reviewing the accounting postings for payable transactions. Let's start out though with checking for pending GRN receipts. The navigation for this activity would be Finance, Creditors Ledger, and Supplier Invoice Grouping. Here you'll begin by picking up the appropriate warehouse, populating the supplier for whom you wish to look out for outstanding GR receipts, and of course the supplier site, and if you need to change the currency, you can of course do that manually. We'll go down and click Search. Okay, so this search brought up 3 outstanding GRN receipts for this specific supplier, ROM Industries. And we actually have the possibility of selecting all of these and processing them into a payable invoice, or doing a simple one-to-one match. Okay, the next process is creating a payable invoice from the GRN. So in this case, we just took number 148 there. We're going to process a single. We'll go down and click on Create Invoice. Brings up this confirmation page. We can go ahead and click Confirm. We do want to confirm number 148 PO receipt into an invoice. Okay, so as you can see, all of this information was populated from the GRN receipt against that PO automatically into this supplier invoice form. As you can see, the GL creditors account there. Of course, we can put in our own comments here under the narrations box. Click Load. And of course, our standard payment terms there automatically populated for this particular supplier. Now let's check on the line item detail. Okay, so the lines for this supplier invoice, of course you can see the unit price, the quantity, all this important information, GL charge account. And over here we can see once again payment terms on this line, the line amount, taxes, and it'll also reference the PO for us, which is nice. Okay, so let's check out the tax information here. As you can see, all of the tax information for this particular line item is populated here. You know, the amount, precedence levels. So we'll go ahead and save, navigate back to the master header level invoice. And then what I'm going to do here is actually select the approval date from the Echain drop-down calendar. And then I'll just click Approve. Oh, looks like I forgot to populate the supplier invoice number. As you can see, that's a blue box and a mandatory field here. But that's going to be something that is just simply referencing the invoice number as generated at the supplier's location. Okay, and as you can see, Echain's giving us this message, transaction is successful, and we've approved that invoice. Next, let's take a look at the process for creating a manual payables invoice. Of course, we're going to see a similar screen here to the invoice that was created automatically, but we'll navigate Finance and down to the supplier invoice screen, where we'll pick up our warehouse And of course, we've got an invoice type drop-down box here. You know, it could be anything from an invoice to a credit memo, debit memo, prepayment. But in this particular case, we're just going to be processing a simple invoice. So let's go ahead and type in our ROM Industries supplier here, just as before. Of course, we've got our GL creditors account, all of that stuff populated automatically. We'll go ahead and type in that supplier invoice number, invoice date, pick that up off the calendar. You know, any narrations that we need to make here, of course. So we can go ahead and drop those into the narrations box for, in this case, consumable goods. We'll go ahead and save this. As you can see, we get another message from Echain. The transaction's been successfully posted there. And we'll move down to the line item level. Bring in the description, the unit price, quantities there, of course the proper charge count there. Save it. Okay, so here we can manually populate our tax data. Can actually pull in from this drop-down menu here for all of this predefined tax information that's been placed into the system at the administrative level. Then we can set the precedence for each of these taxes. Of course, a precedence level 1 is going to mean that we're processing this tax on the base amount of this line item, whereas precedence level 2, we're actually going to be calculating the tax based upon the base amount plus any precedence level 1 amounts as well. So we can go ahead and save this work. As you can see, we get our transaction successful notification again. All of the proper rates, total values. Close out of this. Go over to others. Again, you can see the line item amount. The tax amounts have been populated there from the information that we entered. And I can go ahead and pick up the proper approval date here off the handy Echain dropout calendar. Go ahead and click approve, and we get our notification once again from the system. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and take a look at the process for reviewing a current bank balance within Echain. We'll go ahead and navigate to the Reports Center. As you can see, we've got a number of different types of reports here. We actually have the ability to go ahead and put favorites down there at the bottom of the screen. You know, reports that you use on a regular basis. Easily populate those. But we'll go ahead into the GL reports and pick up the bank summary report off that list. Okay, so here's the bank summary report screen. Once again, we'll have to select the appropriate warehouse. We'll take our bank name here, and then we're going to have to select a date range from the Echain calendars to and from, for which we want to make this report. You can see we can select debit or credit vouchers only, but in this particular situation, I'm going to go ahead and leave it open, pick up all voucher types in this search. Okay, so here's our report. You can see all the debit credit values here, current total, closing balance, opening balance, all of this information, check numbers, voucher numbers. Okay, so next, let's see how we verify a payable outstanding amount. Once again, we're going to go into the Reports Center here in Echain.